Seconds.
Go.
All righty, welcome back. You're watching a Thirsty Thursday edition of Liquid Lunch. I love bringing on all kinds of opposing views to have a thoughtful conversation. We do it all the time. I talked in the open about how a significant portion of the American national cable TV viewership tuned in to see Tucker Carlson interview a decorated Navy veteran and talk about how he personally sat down and spoke to Joe Biden eye to eye, face to face, and Joe Biden told him that you are representing the Biden family name out there. And he said that when Joe Biden said he's never, or his family's never taken a penny, he flat out, blatantly lied. And Jack Dorsey and others went before the Senate yesterday and said, hey, if you don't like our platform, you got other options. Go somewhere else. So this media stuff, we may not have a free press anymore. But to break it down, my two good buddies, David Eisenbach is with us. He's a Columbia University professor, former Democrat candidate for public advocate, and Jadan Horyn, Republican strategist, contributor to Metropolitan Magazine. Guys, I don't even know where to begin with this. You know, you guys have been coming on this show for a while. You know, I like to call it like it is. I like to give other people a chance to hear their point of view. I'll give it to Jaden first. This, to me, means the end of basically a free press.
Look, we have two separate and distinct issues here. Whether or not Joe Biden is complicit with dealing, whether or not he lied to the American people, is one issue, an important one, but separate from the idea that our social media gatekeepers have chosen to censor and extort another media outlet for a report that they find to be in breach of their standards, but standards they have not applied universally to other stolen or hacked information that has previously been, we say the word, published on their platforms. And so the problem becomes that whether or not Joe Biden did this or not, these social media companies are exercising a dangerous and monopolistic behavior in essentially censoring information that the American people should be able to see, judge to be verified or judged to be ridiculous, and move on, much like many of the accusations against President Trump over the last 4 years have been.
David, where are the true liberals who cared about things like free speech? Where are they?
We got one on Newsmax right now as we speak.
Aside from you.
Because you're right. Well, you don't find them on corporate media. You're not going to find them on MSNBC because they're a bunch of corporate hacks. And what we're seeing right here are corporations who pose a big threat to American democracy, deciding what is truth. And that scares me, right? The founding fathers gave us the freedom of expression so that we would put all sorts of stuff out there, including fake news, and that out of that, the truth would emerge. Whether Biden is guilty or not, that should be decided in the court of law, but also in the court of public opinion, with all the information out there, true and false. The American people will figure it out.
I'm with you. I mean, they can't have it both ways, Jaden. They can't enjoy the liability protections of not being a publisher and then act like a publisher.
I mean, the position is bizarre to me. This entire situation is very odd. It doesn't do Joe Biden any favors to have this story suppressed on Twitter, to have Twitter extort the New York Post. You know, it is creating a sense of sensationalism around it, but that one that feeds into people's natural instinct for paranoia, because why else would you suppress it? If it isn't true and it's ridiculous and sensational, and you print it just like something in the Inquirer, then you're going to look at it and go, okay, that didn't happen. But once you decide not to allow people to look at it, then people are going to say, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? It's not that ridiculous. It's not like he, was meeting with a spy outside of a McDonald's in Rock Creek Park, getting information passed to him from a Brit that turned around and was given to the FBI that showed coordination between the Trump campaign and extortion from Putin. Oh wait, that actually happened. That actually happened. So we were willing to air that in the court of public opinion. News outlets were willing to carry that. and suddenly this is verboten.
No doubt.
It's incredibly dangerous to the American people and to the choice we have to make for our elected officials if this is what our media gatekeepers and our social media gatekeepers can do.
Yeah, David, I kind of feel like if the Bidens lived in New Jersey and they had vowels at the end of their names with just a spoonful of this evidence, people would be getting their front doors rammed down and being walked out in sweatsuits. I feel like aside from the press, they're showing us right now that there's two sets of justice in this country.
Yeah. Well, that should not be news to anybody who's been paying attention for the last, 6 decades. The fact of the matter is that the power elite have used their positions to enrich themselves legally in most cases. And when they do get caught at doing something, it's a slap on the wrist, it's a little fine, and they walk away. This is true of banksters, and it's true of politicians. And if Joe Biden is one of them, he needs to be punished for it. And that's why we need a full airing and a full investigation of all these accusations.
No question about that. All right, Jadan, U.S. GDP jumped 7.4% in the third quarter. I think that's a great sign for our economy. I think that's going to make a lot of people feel better about Donald Trump and his economy. I did point out that when you have a big drop like this, you get big percentage gains on the way back up. We're still not back to where we were, but it is nice to rip off big chunks like this to get back to normalcy.
Yeah, I mean, the annualized rate down on the second quarter was what, 31.3%. The annualized rate up is 33.2%. I mean, that extra percentage, I believe, you can attribute to the president cheerleading the economy and encouraging people to go out. We need to resume normal economic activity as much as possible with, proper safety and precautions. A country, a people, an economy, a globe cannot exist if people aren't able to interact, and the negative economic consequences of continuing to shut down or re-shutting down, as France and Germany are doing and Israel recently did, are going to be incredibly damaging. And we need a president that can focus on the economy above all. I understand that there are a lot of important issues that our country has, but we need to make sure that every person who wants a job has a job and can afford to put food on their table. And if our economy doesn't exist, no one will be able to do that. And our country won't exist.
No doubt. Hey, David, I think the president's closing argument should be, look at the economy. We're on our way back. I'm going to keep the cops on the street and keep you safe. And I'm going to open up the country again. Yeah. And I know women, who were anti-Trump. I wouldn't say they were pro-Biden, but they were going to vote for Biden because they didn't like Trump, And they've been hearing Joe Biden say he's going to lock down the country again. That's what people are hearing, right? That's the main message they're hearing. And I've heard a number of women say, I got to vote for Trump now. I can't go back in lockdown. I'll kill myself. So I think...
Right. Well, it's exactly what I said this summer, right? What are white suburban soccer moms what are they going to be worried about a week before the election? Is it going to be Black Lives Matter and chaos in the streets, or is it COVID? That's the question. That's going to decide, because you got Joe Biden who said, I'm going to save you from COVID. You got Donald Trump who's like, don't worry about the COVID. I'm going to save you from the destruction of the suburbs, right? Which side do those swing voters, the voters that decide elections, the white suburban moms, where do they go?
I'm saying, Jadan, I mean, you're in the younger community, you may have some observations, but I'm saying the moms have learned what they need to do to keep their kids safe, and they know they're not susceptible to mortality, to a very, very small degree. I think most women would rather be safe with their kids at their own discretion and have their kids out of the house and them out of the house.
Look, I would say this, with what's going on in Germany and France, it destroys the media's entire narrative that well-run and controlled viral outbreaks can be mitigated in any meaningful way with draconian government response. It completely disproves that both Angela Merkel and her counterpart in France, have essentially said that their countries have not been able to control it and contain it, and now that basically means whatever Biden was saying before, he needs to acknowledge that there's two choices. You have to remain open and be safe, or you have to completely shut it down and risk destroying the economy.
Hopefully,
there's two
hopefully
choices,
it's not that.
And you can't point to Europe anymore and claim that we want to be like them.
That's true. All right, I want to be like you guys, but we got to leave it there. Thank you very much, David Eisenbach, Jadan Horyn.
All right, predictions. Who wins on Tuesday, guys?
Who you got on Tuesday? Last word, Jadan.
Obviously, I'm going with Biden, but I don't think it's going to be as much of a.
Jadan?
It won't be a landslide. It won't be decided. We'll find out 3 days later.
Very good. Hopefully, we'll have you back before
too.
then. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back with some news of the day right after this.